we should at least get closer to him. Like, he's tall, he's not very wide, but he could be heavy. I don't know. He's worth another look.
His forks look good.
Decent forks, at least. I can't tell the front because he's looking right at me, but if we take a kilometer off the distance, maybe we'll be able to tell then. Look at him from 1K instead of 2.
If you joined us last week, you witnessed the heartbreaking story of a world-class muley buck that had come awful close to earning a trip to top-notch taxidermy. Jeffrey Solberg had spent over a month and a half chasing this particular deer, and when presented with his opportunity, disaster struck and the wind blew his arrow off the side of his rest, causing it to soar 50 feet left, rather than into this buck's vitals. Jeffrey had invested countless hours and painstaking miles into this particular deer, only to be struck with disaster. After that buck disappeared over the horizon for the very last time, Jeffrey knew that he had missed his opportunity. That was where we had left off last week, and with only a few short days left in the archery season, I had met Jeffrey down south to try and find a way to beat the odds and keep his streak alive.
You know what? I probably will bring my bow, just in case, you know. Tell you one thing, Dan Evans says he gets up and then his trigger finger doesn't itch. I'm a kilometer and a half away and I already feel it a little bit. There's so many deer here, man. Oh my goodness. They're everywhere, they're everywhere. Let's drop into this bowl and we'll peek up here. We won't be skyline. There, right there. Pretty as you please. Let's pull the spotter out and pop it up over here.
Big clean four.
Yeah. With brows. Yeah. He's shorter on the G3 and G4 on his left side. He's got tremendous G2s though.
Yeah.
He's probably got 16-inch G2s.
He's pretty.
Very pretty. Missy would already be like there.
Yeah.
Man, it's tough to stalk that buck. 30 minutes into our hunt, not even knowing what those other bucks were back there.
I tell you what, I have a 7-year draw tag and I'd be all over that deer where I'm at.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
I know, it's a terrible thing.
Jeffrey had killed his 3 largest bucks to date in the past 3 seasons. And I should have known that it was going to take a very special deer in order to get his heart rate up. Clearly this wasn't that deer, so we decided to jump on the bikes and keep looking.
Fatal Impact is proudly sponsored by Top Grade Construction, PX2 Broadheads, Vortex Optics, Covert Scouting Cameras, Poacher's Corner, Bone Scope. This segment of the show has been brought to you by the Municipal District of Bonnyville. Lake adventures happen here. This segment of Fatal Impact has been brought to you by Vortex, the force of optics.
Yesterday, Dana and I logged 13 kilometers, roughly, chasing after, well, basically 2 deer that we both swore were fantastic shooter bucks, and which turned out to be not shooter bucks, put it that way. And boy, we do not learn from our mistakes, because we are about to stalk a deer that we do not have a good look at. We saw him at just under 2 kilometers away this morning, kind of dark. couldn't get a good look at him. Saw his left side looks fantastic, and he looked tall, and he looked dark, which means maybe he's heavy, but we don't know. We don't know. He could be 140-inch deer. He could be 180-inch deer. Anything in between, we have no idea. But he laid down in this little slough bottom. We actually just found a piece of his antler, so we're gonna sneak down there and try to get close. There's a landmine of deer everywhere. A minefield. That's what I'm going for. There's a minefield of deer all throughout this bottom, and there's about an 80% chance that we just scare them up and he goes with them, but I don't know. It's getting late. One weekend left, so you gotta give it a try. If he's not big enough, there's some deer over there that look like they would be, so we're gonna move in. Right now we can just see the tops of his antlers, so if he stands, we don't even know if we'll be able to get a shot at him, but maybe we will if he mills around a bit. So we're gonna get in there and see. If the wind holds, we should have a good wind, so. We're only a $140, brother. Another 100 yards and he's dead. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's go kill him.
As this buck stood up, the very first thing I noticed was the deep forks and the split on his right antler. Here we were, well within bow range, with only 2 days left in the season and a gorgeous buck standing in front of us. But when I looked at Jeffrey, I could see that he wasn't nearly as excited as I was.
I mean, everything is perfect. Everything. It could not be better. We could kill this deer. He's just big. He is so hard to judge. Great forks. Sometimes I think he's not even a popping young deer, though. I don't know. No matter how much I try to make him grow, he will not grow. It'd be nice if he goes up that hill, though, eh? I don't know, dude. He has wasted half our day. I think we should go get on that big 3x4 and shoot him. Oh, he's a monster. He's a monster. Get down, Dana. He's a toad. 180. 185. Meh. 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 Yeah, you like that?
I do a lot.
I've worked on that, actually. Yeah, that's a young deer. An old deer would be over that hill there. We are humans. We do not come in peace. There we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, you got potential, buddy. Oh, he's big. He is big. One of these days I'm gonna be somebody. One of these days I'm gonna spread these wings and fly. So an hour ago, as we were stalking this deer, we meandered nonchalantly down a small hill, turn around to go back to the truck, and this hill has grown 2 times the size it was, and at least twice as steep too. Like, you turn your back for 2 minutes and these hills are enormous and steep. How it is when you're mule deer hunting, but luckily we've got fuel for the road.
Fatal Impact is proudly sponsored by Matthews Archery, Deluxe Wall Tents, Victory Archery, Bike Tricks Electronic Bicycles, Top Notch Taxidermy Studio. This segment of Fatal Impact is brought to you by Top Grade Construction in Lloydminster for all of your construction needs. This segment of Fatal Impact is brought to you by Deluxe Wall Tents, built in Canada for Canadian conditions.
We found a good deer. We're running out of daylight. We're trying to loop around. We just crawled down the hill. He didn't spot us. So now we're fighting the clock trying to get to him.
We had just found the buck that most hunters will spend their entire lives searching for. A giant old typical buck with crazy deep forks and heavy mass, and a beautiful light shade to his antlers. It was late in the day and the sun was setting fast, and we knew that we had to hurry if we had any chance of getting into position before he stood up. The wind was perfect and it didn't take us long to quickly sneak within range. Not knowing exactly where he was bedded, or if we'd even be able to see him in his bed, we couldn't believe it when we peeked over the cliff and there he was, less than 30 yards away, and completely asleep. We were 5 yards away from the goal line and knew exactly which play to run in order to win the game. On paper, it was a done deal. We had thought that we would be lucky to get into position before we stood up for the evening. Instead, we sat there patiently waiting and watching as the sun continued to drop out of the sky. All we needed was for this buck to stand up like they do every evening before heading up to feed. But this buck had different plans. Perhaps he had a late night chasing the ladies the day before, because he was squeezing in every last minute of sleep he could possibly get. And as we sat there shivering in the cold southern wind of the prairies, we had to accept the fact that he wasn't going to give us a shot before dark. Our decision not to push him paid off as we were able to relocate him the next morning, not far from where he was the night before.
Jeffrey's just going in. We spotted this deer down in the bottom, and he's in a stupid spot. And I don't know how Jeffrey's gonna get close, but we figured rather than both of us crawling down the bottom, I would set up on top here and get a different angle. And Jeffrey's gonna slither into position and try and get a shot at him. Gorgeous deer. And he actually stood up, went around the brush, and bedded with his back to the brush where Jeffrey's gonna be coming. It's a perfect situation, so I'm actually even slipping closer to get a closer angle for you guys.
Fatal Impact is proudly sponsored by Municipal District of Bonnyville, Guardian Plumbing and Heating, 365 Archery, Wapiti River Outdoors, iHunter, Williams Backhoe Services. This segment of the show has been brought to you by Covert Scouting Cameras. This segment of Fatal Impact is brought to you by PX2 Broadheads, the toughest, most dependable broadhead on the market today.
Yeah, you can see his footprints clear as day. There's a drop. There's another one. Dana.
Oh, I don't even know where to begin. What a crazy hunt. It's down to the wire, like it always is with Dana and I. But we actually found this deer last night. We thought we had it made too, slipped right in on him. And he just decided not to get up till dark. We found him again today, just out in a flats. Dana actually bumped him, we watched him, we found him. And boy, we thought there was no way to get to him, but made it work even with the old southeast wind, the cursed southeast wind, which we thought we would never kill a deer on. So this was a tough old guy, man. I thought that shot was perfect. And he made it quite a long ways, thankfully, all straight towards the truck. So he took a lot of packing off, but just a beautiful, mature buck, heavy, thick, deep forks, long G4s, just exactly what I was looking for. We've had just a roller coaster ride of a hunting season here, and this was probably our last chance. So there's a lot of people I need to thank. My wife has been so supportive. I've got a new baby at home and I've been out gallivanting through the bush, and Dana's come down and filmed me, which is awesome. Dan has been amazing, helping out filming. You know, I don't want to name drop a bunch of sponsors just to try to throw them in there, but there have been some companies that have just believed in us from the very beginning when we were basically nothing but just a bunch of kids with a dream. And you know, Matthews and Vortex and 365 and Victory, they've all been just amazing to work with. We've got so many good sponsors now, Nose Jammer, I can't even think of them all. And you know what, they believed in us, and sometimes we didn't believe in ourselves. But in the final hours here, we got it done on just a beautiful buck. So it's hard to know what to say. I just feel really grateful right now. What would it be like to be able to witness a battle like that, eh?